present your paper, you will be the first participants, Venerable. You can also share your screen.
Venerable, can you hear me clearly? Everyone, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay.
I cannot hear you, Venerable.
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
คอมนี้น่าจะมีปัญหานะครับ เพราะว่าผมไม่สามารถฟังใครได้ทั้งสิ้น เขาพูดอะไรผมไม่รู้เรื่องเลย พี่ครับ พี่มีเปลี่ยนไหมเพราะว่าผมไม่ได้ยินสักคนเลย เขาจะพูดอะไรเขาจะให้ผมโชว์ให้อะไรผมไม่รู้เรื่อง
หลวงพี่ได้ยิน
Sorry to interrupt. I have some technical problems in my computer. Maybe I'll be changing for now. Those who can present, please share your screen and move on with your presentation.
Okay. So can you make sure everyone can see my presentation slide?
ให้ผมออกเลยใช่ไหมคือมันไม่ได้อะไร
Venerable?
ออกเลยแค่นั้นเลย
Hello.
Hello.
So everyone can hear me? No?
Yes. Yes, I can hear.
Yeah, yes, I can hear.
So so can you see my presentation slide?
Yes, I see.
Is it display?
I cannot see the
Okay.
slides, only see the icon of your face.
It is your slide. This is your face, and the font show that it is your presentation.
Presentation.
ผมไม่ได้โหลดให้เขาเลยคอมมันก็ช้าเลย
Yes, Venerable. Hello. Can I start now?
Yes. Please share your screen. Please share your screen. Can you share the screen? The PowerPoint. Are you having problem sharing?
I think it's yes.
Yes, I can see you now. Oh,
okay.
He has left. Oh.
Okay, don't worry. I will download it your presentation that you sent to me.
Okay, you can share.
Okay, you just keep on presenting, okay?
Okay.
Just wait. Oh, just Venerable, you can start presenting.
So my slide is display.
Yes, we can see a slide. Yes. Just make sure it's full screen. Yes, please continue.
Okay. No.
Please continue.
So good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone doing fine amid of this challenging time, and I'm very glad to be here to present my presentation on the problems encountered by Bengali learners for the acquisition of the second language and some possible recommendation for overcoming the problems. So the purpose of this study is to point out the some phonological problems faced by the Bengali speakers in learning English pronunciations. And at the end, I would present some possible recommendation for overcoming these phonological problems. So first of all, if we introduction, we can see that if we see the history of the language of English and Bengali, so this is the came from the same lineage, is Indo-European language. For the 175 million people speak Bengali, mostly in Bangladesh and some part of India. And on the other hand, English is the most widely spoken language of the world, and second only Mandarin Chinese. So if we see the problem related to consonant sound of Bengali speakers usually faced, that first of all we can look that the sound inventory of British English consonant and Bengali consonant. So according to manner of articulation, we can see the policy in English consonant, policy fricative, affricative, nasal, lateral, and approximant. On the other hand, in Bengali consonant, according to manner of articulation, as we can see, stops, nasal, radials, flaps, and fricatives. So Bengali learners frequently face the problem that difference between English voice alveolar fricative ja and voice post alveolar fricative ja, which sounds similar to the Bengali voice palatal stop ja, but actually this is represent two different phonemes of English ja and dra. So according to the perceptual assimilation model, mentioned that if the L2 contains two phonetic contrasts in which both members are perceived as a single native language sound, establishing different categories for the L2 will very difficult. So this kind of discrimination is also known as single category pattern. So as we see the example L2, there is the two phonemes, ja and dra, which met on the one single phonemes L1, ja. But in this case, to overcoming the discrimination of this problem is very difficult for the Bengali speakers, because there are two constructive targeted language sound met on the one's native language sound. So Bengali learners possibly encounter the mispronounced English fricatives phonemes like fa and va more forcefully as aspirated stops, and thus they can mix up the pronunciation of fa and pa and bha and bha. So in Bengali, there is a two flaps, ra and ra, where ra is dental and ra is retroflex. So in the Bengali language, we cannot find any approximant. So therefore, it would be the problem to pronounce the English approximant by the Bengali students. And it might be difficult as well to Bengali learners to learn the rule of English voiceless stops. Pa, ta, ka are aspirated only on a certain occasion in the beginning of a stress syllable, because Bengali has pa, ta, ka as distinct separate phonemes. So problem related to vowels, as we can see that the pronouncing English vowel schwa and a could be problematic by the Bengali learners, because this vowel don't have any exact equivalence in Bangla. Although the Bangla vowel inventory does not have any mid-central vowel such schwa as a. So Bengali has only low central vowel a. So according to the palm theory mentioned that this can also be an example of single category pattern where two sounds schwa and a are perceived as equally good exemplar of a single L1 sound a. And it is supposed to be very difficult for L2 learners to discrimination between those sounds. And problem related to diphthong. So Bengali speakers or students very often they face the problem to pronouncing English diphthongs, because the Bengali vowels E, A, O is like a pure vowels, that is they are pronounced without any obligate. So on the other hand, the pronouncing the English diphthong such as ia and ea, where there is a movement of glit from one vowel to another, most pose difficult for Bengali learners of English, and they might very good substitute monotones for diphthongs. So as we can see that the problem the Bengali speaker face stress and intuitions. If you see the slide, we can see English has the stress time rhythm, and it would be the very complex because there is the three level of the English stress system, just like a primary level, secondary level, and no stress level. So on the other hand, in Bangla language have the all syllable of a multi-syllable Bangla word are for all practical purposes stressed equally. So Bangla seems to have a syllable times a rhythm in which all syllables tend to occur at regular time intervals. So if we see the intonations is like a suprasegmental part of phonology in English, basically constitute of raising tone, and it is used to carry information over and both above the which is expressed by the words in the utterance. And it is obvious that Bengali speaking learners face difficulty in mastering English intonation because of interference of mother tongue and lack of enough training, and his/her speech then sounds unnatural and even unintelligible. So now I would present some possible recommendation. How can we overcome these problems? So the teacher, first of all, the teacher can teach the learners to correct pronunciation of English fricatives. For instance, fa, va, ta, da, ja, ja. How do these phonemes are pronounced? For example, the teachers can explain that the students, the upper teeth should be in touch with the lower lips in pronouncing pa and bha. And there would be the another possible recommendations is like a visual illustrations. It can be also show learners the difference in articulation between such as fa and tha, va and va, ta and tha, dha and dha, ja and ja, ja and ja. So this is the very Bengali speaker face the problem with pronouncing these sounds. And this kind of visual illustrations of articulation may help learners perceive how those Bangla and English phonemes which sound similar and are pronounced differently. And minimal pairs and pairs of words, it also can help to learners perceive the different in pronouncing of different English phonemes. For example, teacher can use minimal pairs to help learners practice the correct pronunciations of the target sounds like ja and dra. In this regards, presenting this sound in variety of phonetic context would be helpful for learners because when learners are presented with the target sounds in variable or different context, they can develop their sensitivity to perceive necessary contrast in those sounds. So, for example, the teacher can teach the students and the composer is like a composer, rose and rose. To such, this minimal pair could be also placed in the context of the longer text to facilitate learners' successful acquisition of the target language. And the teacher also can use the tongue twister like a composer in composer. She rules the loss of the roach. So another suggestion would be the recording the multiple native speakers pronouncing multiple words or sentence with the target sounds, such as the fricatives ja and dra can be with learners. As classroom activities, learners can be asked to identify which words are pronounced with which phoneme. They can also be asked to discriminate between differences word by pronouncing those correctly, just like ruch and ruch, ja or dra. And the teacher also can introduce the beginners the rules of aspiration all and also these English sounds pa ta ka pa ta ka. So after that, teacher can also prepare a list of words and they can also show the learners which of the above I can mention the 6 sounds. We can see that slide, the pen, spin, hoop, top, stop, light, ka, ska, back. So at the end, the another possible recommendation is the learners should get exposure to the correct pronunciations and correct stress pattern to the teacher. Should be careful when the teacher pronouncing the words. The learners can be practiced more speaking English words with the correct stress pattern. And the better their accent will be perfectly. An adult have to be learn and foreign language through conscious and labored effort. So the teacher also can arrange the IPA chart and can be offered the learners English for correct English pronunciations. And to develop the confidence of the learners, the possible recommendations would be the computer-based technology, and video also can be used. So it helps learners perceive the pitch contour or stress pattern of English speech, because visual display of a pitch contour can more effectively facilitate learners' production of English accent than auditory only input. So the learners also can be encourage learners to perceive the stress pattern in rapid English speech. And however, this would be the very possible, if possible, to interact with the native English speaker that can help improve their ability to comprehend casual native speech and to make their own speech comprehensible to a native speakers. So in the end, I would like to talk that the possible, which we discussed above, the possible recommendation is could be help to the Bengali students to overcome these all phonological problems and to pronounce the correct pronunciations, and the learners can be also can be able to increase comprehensibility speech that can immensely help them in successful communication with other in English. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Venerable Mukesh Barua, to present on the problems encountered by Bengali learners for the acquisition of the second language, some possible recommendations overcoming the problems. So I would like to invite the commentators. Do they have any comments, anything to say to the first presenter? Please. Any comments from commentators?
Chan Sarawur.
Okay, Chan Sarawur.
Chan Sarawur first. Okay, so me first. Okay, good afternoon, Venerable Mukesh Barua. Can you hear me, Venerable Mukesh?
Good afternoon, Achan.
Oh, good afternoon.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
I have checked your research or thesis topic, the problems encountered by Bengali learner.
Yes, Achan, this is also
have you finished your MA?
Yes, also related to my thesis topic.
Finished already or not? Oh,
not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Very interesting. So the problem may be related to the phoneme or phonology or pronunciation of Bengali learner.
Pronunciation.
Yes. I would like to ask you, for your language or Bengali language, do you have tone or tonation? Your language? And is there any tone like rising tone, high tone, medium tone, low tone? Do you have this language? This is the same English?
Yes, sometimes we have the high tone and low tone.
Or do you have tone, no?
Not as yes, is same as English, but some is sound pattern is different from English. And as I mentioned that the Bengali speaker, they cannot pronunciation pa, tha, kha, and also diphthong, some ya, is they have some problems to pronounce the English diphthong. Frequently, the Bengali speaker they face the problem.
Yes, for learning English, I think not only Bengali students have the problem. Also, Thai students the same. For like a phonetic, no phonetic script, IPA chart, if you follow. So I would like to ask you, how do you? Because I just to I just want you to summarize or again for overcoming the obstacle in learning phonetics, in learning phonology, how to pronounce correctly. Could you please tell us
Yes,
again, please?
the pronounce correctly, as the teachers can be played a vital role to pronounce the pronunciation correctly, and the IPS sound. Actually the problem to the Bengali speakers is the interference of mother tongue. This is the most obstacles to learn these sounds. But a teacher can also apply some methods like to pronounce the sound like a pa, da. First of all, I talk about that pa tha kha. So how to pronounce the pa tha kha is the our teeth, upper teeth is touched with the lower lips. Pa like pa ba. So this is the one pedagogical, we can say pedagogical, or some possible recommendation. And also teacher also teach the some how to say share the talk with the native speakers, because this is also effectively works to acquisition of second language. That when we talk with the native speaker, we can catch the correct pronunciation of English. And also the students also follow that technological computer technological base, then such as we can learn from the YouTube and watching many educational videos and like a debate and tech talks videos, then we can improve our
Okay,
I-
Venerable, I think you should sum up fast because we are also waiting for other presentators.
Okay. So it's better. I just recommendation from me a little bit. You just follow IPA, IPA International Phonetic Alphabet, or if possible, you can
Yes,
learn.
IPA.
You can learn with the English native speaker. That is the way to solve pronunciation problem. Okay, thank you. Because today we have many speakers, we have many students.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much.
Sorry. Venerable Mukesh, please stop sharing your screen first. Okay.
Yes.
And now I would like to invite Ajahn Mahasena Suraseno
Just a minute.
on the topic, how can a Dhammaduta monk help bring the Dhamma to the West? Please, welcome, sir. You can start sharing a screen, sir.
No. Right. Can you hear me, Venerable Sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you please share your screen, Venerable Ajahn?
Oh, sure. Okay.
Okay.
Do you see me now?
Yes, we can see you. But we still cannot see your presentation yet.
Oh, right. Can I firstly,
Okay.
stop, then I can put it a little bit later. Right. Okay. Here we go. Can you see my presentation now, Venerable?
Sure, sir. Please open your PowerPoint slides.
Yeah, I do already here.
ศึกษาเอกสารที่เบื้องต้นก่อนแล้วก็ไปศึกษาด้านเชิงพื้นที่ก็คือทำแบบสอบถาม
Okay. Hmm.
Is it done, Pajan? Is it coming? Just open the Google Meet and start presenting on your PowerPoint. Because when you present on the Google Meet, you have to open both Google Meet and the presentation.
Yeah, I did already. I don't know what happened to that. You know.
We are seeing your screen, but we cannot see your PowerPoint. You can minimize this your Google Meet first, then open your PowerPoint.
Actually, I have.
Okay, yeah, yes, we can see it now. Okay, just open your PowerPoint. Okay, yes, we can see it. Please continue, sir. You have 15 minutes, Nakap.
Right. Okay. So,
10 to 15.
Venerable, may I first of all, pay my respect to all the Venerable Sanghas and greeting, good morning to everyone, to all the participants here. I'm very pleased and feel privileged to partake in this online conference, and I'm thankful to all the organizers. Today, my topic, as the Venerable moderator said, how can a Buddhist Dhammadutta monk, help brings the Dhamma to the West? As myself now, been in the UK for over 8 years, and today I'm going to explain, a bit about Dhammadutta in the past, and a brief history of Buddhism in the UK, and Buddhism is more popular in the West, and how a monk should prepare before going to overseas or before going to abroad, and the description of some of my Dhammadutta work in the UK and Europe. So this is what I'm going to continue here now. And before I'm going to the more slide, I would like to describe or demonstrate about the the Dhammadutta in the past. As we know well, Dhammadutta was found by the Buddha after he became enlightened and taught the Dhamma, and many disciples entered the Sangha. Then he sent enlightened bhikkhus, it's over 60 bhikkhus, isn't it? And into different direction and spread the teachings. And he said that go monks, please travel all around everywhere for the well-being of many and for happiness of many, showering compassion on to the entire world, and for the good and for the welfare, for the happiness of divines and human. This is, what the Buddha said at the beginning. So since then, the Buddha's teaching have brought great benefits and helped many overcome the samsara of rebirth and death. This is very important. Then 300 years later, after the Buddha passed away, or we call entered to the Parinibbana, and the great King Ashoka, the great king of India, held the third Buddhist council to purify the Buddha Sasana, and under the leadership of Venerable Mokkalibuddha Tisatera. Then after the council, during the council, the order of the Sangha, to propagate the Buddha's teaching, and they have sent, all the learned Dhammadutta monks into 9 directions, as we know well, and in different regions. So at that time, Buddhism became widely established in many Asian countries. Then may I now briefly talk about the history of the Buddhism in the UK. So if, as far as we can, we can see the evidence, Buddhism was brought to the UK during the Corona period, or when some of English authors start writing about Buddhism. Then, but at that time, Buddhism was not, received much attention from British people, from English people, until 1879, when Sir Edwin Arnold compiled the epic poem named The Light of Asia, describing the life of the Buddha. Then this book made people in the West become more interested in Buddhism. So meanwhile, the most well-known English scholar of Buddhist scripture, as we know well, Thomas William Rhys David, traveled to Sri Lanka and to learn Pali, to be able to translate Pali language. Then in 1980, David published his first translation of Jataka, and in 1881, he founded the Polytech Society in the UK to foster and to promote the study of Pali texts. Then later in 1898, Alan Bennett also went to Asia and became a monk in Sri Lanka and received a Buddhist monk as Bhikkhu Ananda Metteyya. So when he was coming back to the UK, so as the first, English monk, then he was the first Theravada, the English tradition monk in the UK. So later, in 1924, Christmas Ambrose found London Buddhist Society in London, and London Buddhist Vihara of Sri Lanka also was found by Anagalika Dhammapala. Then later, in 1954, Kapilavattho Bhikkhu, introduced Thai Buddhism from Wat Pak Nam to the UK and found the English Sangha Trust in 1955. Then in 1966, Wat Puttapatipa, the big temple we call it of Thai temple in the UK also was established. Later, many Tibetan, Zen, and other traditions also set up their centers and temple. Then in 1979, Thai Forest Sangha of Longpo Cha or Ajahn Chah, as we know well, at Chithurst Buddhist Monastery also established, and in 1980 at Wat Amaravati at Hamo Hampstead. So this is the brief history of Buddhism in the UK. Then, nowadays, Buddhism also become more popular, as I'm, noting now in the West. We can say in the West, not just in the UK. Buddhism from many countries from Asia has been introduced to the West. Some Westerners have joined the Sangha, and they also become among themselves and set up monasteries, centers. Besides meditation center, Buddhist societies and communities are also widely established. Then many monks from East are traveling to the West to serve, their settled migrant community like Sri Lanka, Thai, and Burmese, and other community as well. This is very important factors that Buddhism has been growing quickly in the West. So now may I also talk about some of my, the Dhammatutta, monk, that how should a Dhammatutta monk should prepare before going to the UK. So as I have my experience myself, if anyone wants to become an overseas Dhammatutta monk to help promote Buddhism, he should be well trained and have right understanding of Buddha's teachings before traveling to abroad. Then not only are the Dhamma qualifications, language skills, experience of meditation practice, also important, but good communication skills and general knowledge are also, indispensable. The Dhammatutta monk should be able to apply a Dhamma to help people deal with their problems, and meditation is one of the best ways to address human suffering. Then many people have understand that Buddhist teaching is most reliable and pragmatic approach.
Sorry to interrupt, Ajahn, 2 more minutes.
All right, okay. And so this is some of some of the backgrounds. So that if I go more to about meditation teachings, so right here at the temple, now some of my experience in when I work here. So as an assistant abbot of Oxford Buddha Vihara, Venerable Dr. Dhammasami, Kamai Dhammasami, I think you know him well. And I realized I much benefit from the excellent training from missionary or overseas going missionary monk from the MCU. So Dhammatutta monks, we have to get trained from the program like constructing training, meditation training, and academic training, these kinds of things. Then especially meditation teaching is very important, and to be this you have to be good at doing language. And this is when I went to Serbia and lead Hungary. This one is Hungary, to lead meditation retreat, 10 days retreats there, and this meditation group. This is what I want to mention a bit. This is a food of fare, not just other things. One of the most important thing also, you have to be able to adjust yourself to adopt, eating their food as well. No rice. You can see there is just a small rice there. You don't have rice. This is also you need to practice before coming, I think. Then this is at the temple. Yearly we have, the summer ordination. The summer ordination is also very important for the children here, because next generation, if we don't give that Dhamma, they will all, forget about this. So this is the training life and the teaching with the summer, when we have summer camp as well.
Can you sum up for now?
Right.
Can you conclude it, please?
Right. So yes, my conclusion is that with the great compassion of all, with the compassion of to all, the Buddha preached the Dhamma and found the Sangha order, and his teaching were passed on to us from generation to generation, and with the support of the community as a whole. And in our time to keep the teaching going on to our next generation, we should educate ourselves with the learning and practicing the Dhamma properly, and we should get trained and equip ourselves with language before going to other country. And then I found that without English language skill, I cannot think that we are able to fruitfully offer the Buddha's Dhamma in the West and productive Dhamma work in the UK as well. So this is my conclusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ajahn. Does any commentators have any question or to comment? Please, not more than 1 minute, Ajahn. Anyone? Maybe one?
Hey, hi. This is Hui Ling from Singapore.
Sure. Kun Hui Ling, continue.
Hey, hi. Dear Mahasangha, venerables, ajahns, doctors, participants, I would like to suggest that Venerable Sina maybe could suggest the need to understand the history and culture of these international devotees. Since you mentioned that your temple is open to all nationalities, so maybe
You're right,
perhaps
yes.
you could find out about the state of Buddhism in their countries. And because I'm based in Singapore, I also would like the any monks from Thailand to understand more about our political history, culture, and yeah, so it will help in that sense. Okay, thank you. It's a good presentation. Thank you for your sharing. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Thank you, both the commentators and the presentation. Venerable Ajahn from Mahasena. So I think I will not further ado. I don't want to waste any more time. So we might have some interruption. But now I would like to call upon the next participant, Miss Phung Yim Shan from Hong Kong, on the topic of A Journey Without End, My Path of English Learning and Acquisition Through My Lifetime. So for Venerable Ajahn Sena, I would like you to stop your screen sharing, and I would like Miss Phung Athena to share her screen and continue the presentation. So you have 10 to 15 minutes. So let's do it like not more than 13 minutes, let's say, because we have almost 14 participants. We just finished 2 of them. So due to the time constraints, I think we should squeeze up. So please continue.
All right, thank you very much. Can all of you hear me? Is it okay? So I will not, like to share my screen first. A moment, please. Present screen. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for the encouragements of venerable monks in MCU. And good afternoon to all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to have this chance to present here to share my experiences in English learning and usage, and my experience in overcoming the fear and boosting confidence in English as a foreign language. In this session, I intended to have a more casual sharing of experiences rather than a serious academic discussion. So initially, my presentation will be roughly divided into 3 parts. The first is my experience since a young age until adulthood. And the second part would be the suggestions of learning English effectively. And the third part will be the theoretical part, which I will examine whether my experience that I encountered, whether it matches some linguistics hypothesis of second language acquisition. So I hope that this presentation would give you some insight in English studying. And this is from my point of view as a learner and as a user. So let us move on. And to give you some background, where is Hong Kong? Hong Kong is a part of China, right? It is actually it is ruled by the UK, by the United Kingdom for 150 years. Until 1997, the sovereignty of Hong Kong was handed over to the PRC, the People's Republic of China. But in this environment, we have special English in Hong Kong has very special status because it is the official language, one of the official languages in Hong Kong, and the other official language is Chinese. And the people, Hong Kong people are made up of about 90% Chinese ethnic people. And the other kinds of people are those from European countries, such as the Britain, and other Asian countries, such as we have a lot of Indians or Filipinos. In Hong Kong, we have around 90% of people which speaks Cantonese, which is one kind of Chinese language. But the writing system of Cantonese and Chinese and Mandarin Chinese is actually the same. So this is the background, the language background of Hong Kong, and I was born in the 1970s. So for my first around 20 years in Hong Kong, it is still the British colony of Britain. So to mention as English has special status in Hong Kong, so I will need to mention the education system. Actually, but before the year 2009, it is the same as the United Kingdom, which consists of 6 years of primary education and 3 years of secondary education, which is free and which is compulsory. And but before that and after that, we have other learning stages as shown in the table. You can see 3 years of kindergarten and then the matriculation and the tertiary education. So as for my own experience, it is like my studies of English started in kindergarten age, around the age of 3. But just like every small children do, I started from alphabets, vocabularies, and simple sentences. And during 6 years of primary education, English is heavily counted in students' achievement. And back to the 1980s, where I grew up, Hong Kong's ordinary schools had no resources to hire native English-speaking teachers. So all of our teachers are local Chinese who were trained in teaching of English. So we only learn through the traditional way of teaching, which is classroom activities made up of activities such as dictation, writing composition, reading comprehension, and grammar exercises. And but it seems that the exposure of small children of Hong Kong, the small children of Hong Kong in English is quite well. But actually, until graduated from primary school, I have already having English classes for 8 years. But my language skill is definitely does not justify the year of exposure, because it is probably the method of learning was not the most efficient one. By that time, though I could read and write simple passages, I have no contact of real English speakers and was unable to watch the English TV channel, something like this, without the subtitle. And then I have also mentioned in the screen that secondary education in Hong Kong. The important point of secondary education in Hong Kong is that the schools are divided into Chinese schools and English schools, which we both have English classes for 2 kinds of schools. But for English schools, it is like apart from the traditional English classes, we actually take all other subjects such as art and science subjects such as history, chemistry, geography, physics, every kind of subjects. We learn it through the media of English. That means the assessment are done with English, and we write assignments in English, and we sit the examinations also writing in English. So I think this is a very special aspect of Hong Kong education, because in most part of the world, we learn subjects in their first language. For example, for Thai children, they learn all kind of subjects in Thai language first. But while Hong Kong, as people, they are ethnical Chinese and they speak Chinese at home, but they will try to educate through English, which is to let them to learn all other subjects in English. So I think this may be a one of the special aspects of Hong Kong education. But is it does it give satisfactory results? But my answer is probably no, because I can only speak my experience is that I successfully passed the public exams with satisfactory grades, but my English level is like I can study the subjects in English as most other students do. I can read and write the ideas and explain ideas in subjects such as science and history. But to me, it is not a kind of living language. It is no real interaction with real English users. And the how should I say? And the chances of to communicate with foreigners are very limited, and the chances of interaction is really low. So I can say the Hong Kong education is public examinations oriented because we got 2 public exams, but this is only a sidetrack on in terms of English learning. So let me move on. And then I moved to successfully enter into the university. And I took translation and Chinese as my undergraduate major. So the studying of translation is like getting in depth in more genres in both English and Chinese, to get more context into different contexts and areas such as literature, poetry, law and commercial, etc. I also took linguistics in English and Chinese and special courses of interpretation. And at the tertiary stage, we eventually have professors that they are native English speakers. And after finishing degree, though I have went through 19 years of conventional education, I still consider myself not a good English user, as I did not use it much in my daily life. To me, English is only a language or a tool for academic purpose. It is not something in the street life. It is not the real life. It is for taking exams, handing in essays and assignments. And the chances for a question.
2 more minutes.
2 more minutes. All right. Then I will run through it briefly, just to skip education. The main point is that I didn't find the Hong Kong education very successful in terms of helping people's language acquisition. And then until working as an editor for 6 years, I decided to make a move. That is, let me skip some slides that describes my work life that may not be necessary. But then the important part is that I decided a change to move to a wholly English environment of both work and studies. This is when the time I study part-time for LLB, a degree in law, English law, and then I moved to work in an international law firm. And that becomes a big change to me. Maybe I can describe what changes is this. It is I take law as a subject which strongly based on reasoning, and there is no black and white issues for legal. There, and at the same time, I learned from my work, which I made many mistakes and from many miscommunications and even conflicts. And changing to a new industry is more difficult, while I have to have the chance to work with difficult people and work with to negotiate the colleagues and to deal with office bullies, I can say. At these circumstances, I have no choice but to use English, and this kind of communication should usually be made simultaneously, tactfully and timely, or otherwise I would lose the best chance of negotiation, and that would be a disadvantage. So this is my.
Could you conclude it?
All right. Then this is the lesson that I learned from my life experience. So I have 4 points that I would suggest to everyone that to improve their English skills. The first one is it is never too late to learn, because in the past I have a professor who started English at 20 and he became a professor before the age of 40. So the key is determination of improving language and probably having a correct studying method. And the second one is to try to immerse into the language environment and think in English. But what do I mention by thinking in English is that like imagine that you do some calculation with your second language. Is it successful? I think for most people it is like you always do your mathematics inside your brain with your mother language. So in this way, you are not thinking in the foreign language. So the key is to use it every day and don't need to be always serious. I mean, don't need to be like just use it relaxedly and mix it into your daily life and cultivate a habit. And the third point is that to be confident, because we all know we are not native speakers. We don't need to be perfect. So does other non-native speakers. They are not perfect as well. So the key of communication is sincerity and confidence. And the last point is that to learn from people and learn from something interesting. That is to choose something that you are really interested in, even if it is not academic. You could also always learn from other things that you really enjoy yourself. That is in English. So I made it very brief, and thank you very much for everyone for listening. So I will skip the theoretical part, and maybe you can read it when my essay is ready. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fung Yim Shan, for presenting your wonderful paper. So let me invite one of the commentators to give comment. Ajahn Sarawur, would you mind to give the comments? Okay.
Hello.
Miss Fang.
Yes.
Have you your experience useful for learners of English as a second language? But have you been satisfied with your success of?
No, I've never been satisfied. I don't think I'm like near native, but it is I can to some extent I can handle my job efficiently, but to be frank, I will need more improvements in terms of like speaking like a native.
Okay,
so do you agree?
How can you measure the success of your English learning?
How can I measure? I think to this stage of my life, I don't need to take exams anymore, but I will need more exposures to more different people from different culture background, or just to enjoy more in the world of English. Because as I understand, having another English is like having another word that is open in front of you. So this is what I will name it as a lifelong process and a journey without end.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn Sarawur,
Thank you.
for commenting, and also Ms. Fung Yim Shan from Hong Kong to present her wonderful paper. Okay, now I would like to move on to another participant. I would like to welcome Ms. Tanikan Siripak. She will be presenting on socio-cultural perspective on English language learning. So Ms. Tanikan Siripak, please share your screen, share your PowerPoints to your commentators and all the participants. Is she here?
Yes.
Okay, please. Okay.
Can you see my presentation?
Of course, we can see. Could you please make it full screen? Okay. Okay.
Is it okay right now?
It's not full screen, but it's zoomed out. It's too large. But if you have the PDF file, you can also present. But if you are okay with this, then just continue your presentation. I think this is okay. I'm not sure about other participants whether they can see. Can everybody see a presentation clearly?
I can see.
Okay. So please continue, Kun Thanikarn.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Thanikarn Siripak. My topic today is Sociocultural Perspective on English Language Learning. So what is sociocultural perspective on English language learning? As we know that language and culture are connected. Culture enriches language and it can affect the English language learners' ability to learn English language to a higher level. In turn, language supports socio-cultural context. As we know that in the process of learning English as a foreign language in Thailand, Thai students will face linguistic and socio-cultural aspects that they are unfamiliar with. So to learn English as a foreign language, we should not be viewed only a system of linguistic norm, but we also should focus on social norms, behavior, and spiritual values. So it leads to the purpose of this paper. The researcher attempts to view how socio-cultural background of English-speaking countries can affect a person's learning of English language. Let's move to the research methodology. There were 19 participants, both male and female. All of them enrolled in the socio-cultural background of English-speaking countries course. They have to study 15 weeks, around 3 or 4 months. For the instrument, there were questionnaires and semi-structured interview protocols. The questionnaires was divided in 2 parts, personal and academic information, and 10 statements with a scale of agreement, including strongly agree, agree, neutral, and disagree. Everything was applied in English since participants are English major students. Let's move to data analysis and discussion. Item 1. Do you enjoy learning English? 58% somewhat agree that they enjoy learning English language, especially when the teachers show greater enthusiasm and passion for English. Students are also motivated and spend their learning time productively. Item 2. Do you learn and practice English by yourself? Only 21% of the respondents always practice English by themselves. They said that independent practice is a good way to help them learn English because to learn language is require regular practice and revision. Number 3. Do you speak English with your friends or family? The results reveal that none of the participants always communicate in English with friends or family because they were born and raised in Thailand and Thai language is their mother tongue, so they prefer to speak their first language in their general life. Number 4, do you feel comfortable to communicate in English? Only 10% of the respondents strongly agree that they feel comfortable communicating in English because they said that they have studied English for their last time when they are confident in their ability to communicate, so they relate well to others. Let's move to number 5. do you have motivation for learning English language? 68% of the respondents were of the view that yes, they have motivation for learning English. In the interviews, the majority of the participants say that they like listening to music, watching movies, and playing computer games in English. They indicated that songs, movies, and games are motivating and enjoyable for them. Some say that they have their favorite foreign superstars, singers, and sports players. So all of these reasons also positively affect their motivation to learn English. Number 6, does English language change your behavior and belief? 63% agree that English can change their behavior and belief, since the learners believe about the causes of success in language learning, and they tend to follow their favorite foreign superstar in positive ways. So learning a language that is relevant to their lifestyle. Number 7, do social networks help you in learning English language? For example, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. Luckily for this item, none of the participants took neutral and disagree. So the majority of them took strongly agree and agree. 53% of the respondents strongly agree that social network can help them learn English very well. The findings from the interview show that the participants use social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and many tools of social media. Some said they always surf YouTube because it is very useful tool, since there are tons of videos that they can use to learn English by themselves. They can select the sources and tutors that best fit their taste. Number 8, do you think visiting native English-speaking countries contribute to learning English language? 74% strongly agree that visiting native English-speaking countries is great ways to expose themselves to English language. They think that visiting native countries provided plenty of opportunity to practice English skill in real situations. Some said that speaking English with native speakers, ordering food, reading the notice board, and so on provided useful in practice. Every interaction helped learners to enhance their knowledge of the target language. Number 9, do you think English language learners need to learn about background of English-speaking countries and culture? 53% of the respondents strongly agree that to learn English, it's important to learn about background and culture of English-speaking countries. Some said that understanding the history, literature, and lifestyle of English-speaking countries can help them use the language appropriately and live the language while they are learning. Let's move to the last point. Number 10, do you think English course books that describe the socio-cultural background and life from the English-speaking countries affect your point of view or life? 63% of them strongly agree. They said that English course books that describe the socio-cultural background and life from English-speaking countries can become positive features in learning English. Because to be effective English language learners, it's also essential that they can expand their worldview through the socio-cultural English course book. So the discussion and conclusion. The deviation may result from various reasons. For example, their purposes, attitudes, and motivations of each participant. As we know that English in Thailand, we study English as a foreign language. So the learner may have had little opportunity to practice English outside the classes. Actually, it also depends on their living environment and their situation in their life. However, as a researcher, I recommend that in the language class or for Thai curriculum, it may be meaningful to maintain the course of sociocultural background of English-speaking countries. For this point is to expand the learner's worldview and increase the socioculture-based classroom activities. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Tanikan Siripak. So I would like to welcome commentators to give some comments or recommend anything. Please, sir, anyone?
Hi, Venerable. Thank you for your presentation. It's good. I would like to ask you, you mentioned in your paper on page 1 under the introduction that foreign language is a system of spiritual values. What do you mean by that?
Excuse me, could you repeat, please?
You mentioned page 1 of your paper that foreign language is also a system of social norms, behavior, and spiritual values. What do you mean by that?
Actually, in Thailand, when we study English, normally most of the school focus on grammatical structure because we tend to do the exam. So to study language, not only linguistic aspect, but social aspect is also considered that it is essential. For example, we know the festival and life from English-speaking countries.
Oh, okay. So your spiritual values means the festivals.
Yeah. Everything in the English-speaking country festival there.
So this is what you refer to as spiritual values.
Social value?
Spiritual values. You mentioned spiritual values in your paper.
It's about their belief.
Okay, so you mentioned that language is about spiritual values.
Yeah, it's one of the part of the element of the language.
Okay. I think it's good that you mentioned that language represents culture, but I'm not sure what you meant by language influence culture or culture influence language. Maybe it's a good point that you could elaborate further. Yeah, it's a good point. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello? 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 Your microphone is off. Okay, can anyone hear my voice?
Yes.
Okay, I think the commentators are done. And thank you, Ms. Tanikan Siripak, for presenting about sociocultural perspective on English language learning. Now I would move on to our another presenter, Ms. Kanokkamalet on the topic, Voice of the Voiceless Victims, the Interpretation of Sadomasochism Relationship in Harold Pinter's.
Good afternoon, dear venerables, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to be here today in the conference. My name is Ms. Kanokkamalet. I'm graduate from Master of Arts in English Language and Literature, Thammasat University. So today my presentation is about the difficult drama play written by Harold Pinter. Is about the topic is quite a cultural one. Let's see. Okay, I'm opening. Sorry, not.
You're sharing a screen?
Yeah. I'm sharing my screen. No, not this one. Sorry, a minute, please. A window, yes, I'm sharing window. Okay. Okay, this one. Okay, firstly, Ashes to Ashes. It is a Holocaust play. The terms Ashes to Ashes is come from actually the sentence in English, ashes to ashes and dust to dust, which means humans are all made of dust and return to dust after death. However, ashes in this line means the ashes of the Jewish that were killed a lot during World War II. And why we have to talk about the Holocaust? Holocaust, according to its definition, it means the systematic state-sponsored killings of 6 million Jewish men, women, and children, and millions of artists by Nazi Germany during World War II. This is defined in the Encyclopedia of Britannica. This is the picture that may help you imagine what's happened. And Harold Pinter, he is the German writer. He writes a lot of drama play. He addresses that the Holocaust is not only a topic about race, not only limited between Jewish people and the German, but it is actually an image and aura of man's inhumanity to man. So it means that the meaning of the tragedy that happened, the kill of millions of people during World War II by systematic killing, have to be remembered and recognized by the people. So it is important that we should amplify the trauma of the victims who were violently killed to the public. I use the term violently because the Jewish are captured and imprisoned inside the concentration camp of the German, and until their whole life, until their death in the gas chamber, they cannot speak. They are suppressed under the order. They don't have the voice to articulate their pain to the public. So this play will help representing what happens and their pain that never be voices. Also, it is to share the tragedy of the Jewish to non-Jewish people like us. So make it universal, not only limited to Jewish and German, but it is a humanities issue for everybody, for social recognition. I use the theory Sadomasochism to help explaining and connecting the psychological of the victims. Its fundamental definition, sadomasochism, it is the sexual behavior that involves getting pleasure from causing or feeling pain. But in psychoanalysis aspect, sadomasochism has two persons relating, doing consensual actions. One we call sadist or sade. We call this is the persecutors. The sadist or the sade will earn personal satisfaction by causing pain to the others, and the others, who is the sufferer of the pain, feel pleasure by receiving pain from the sadist. We call masochism or masoch. Well, the things that the sadist do to the masochist will not only limited to the physical, like bondage and or violence, but including the torture, the mental torture, just like humiliation or the destroy of identity. And it is important that I have to mention that in fact, sadomasochism has many interpretations, and the new discourse coined the term masochism, that is this social violation. It is not only about the sexual behavior, but it is a kind of sociocultural explanation. John K. Noyes, writing in the 19th century, that masochism referred to a symptomatic move and an attempt to resolve some of the crises in the liberal concept of agency, which also Mr. Gilderless, who is a very reputative psychologist, he also stated that sadomasochism is a psychological strategy to regain control over the body under inescapable circumstances. So what I want to clarify here that sadomasochism in this presentation, in this research, is not only limited to the sexual behavior. In the play, there are three main characters, two male characters and one female characters. The female one named Rebecca, and then Devlin. Devlin is the male character. He show you can see his face here, and the others we assume that the play did not describe his appearance, but we can infer that he is the ex-lover of Rebecca and he is the Nazi. So Rebecca represents the role of the masochism. We can see according to her sentence, her quote that as I have quoted here. For example, he would stand over me and clench his fists. She is talking back about her ex-lover. And then he put other hand on my neck and grip it and bring me my head forward. His fist grazed my mouth and he said, "Kiss my fish." And to which I kissed. So she also responded to the violence, the physical violence that her ex-lover gives to her. This is the kind of the masochist. So we can refer Rebecca as the masochist. And Devlin appear in the living room. The setting is the living room. I'm sorry that I forget to mention. And the two people just talking with no other background. Devlin is represented just like her practitioners, or some maybe said that he is her current lover. However, the play does not say exactly that who is he. So we assume that he is just the one of the male character that talk with Rebecca. Devlin said that. Devlin represent the image of the sadist, as he implies his authority to control over Rebecca. For example, as quoted here, Devlin said, "Put yourself in my place. I am compelled to ask you questions. There are many things I don't know. I know nothing about any of this." The word "in my place" here has implication that he is inviting Rebecca into his own sphere and is controlling her to answer the questions that he is asking. Also, another character, Rebecca's ex-lover, who is the Nazi, there's no direct statement in the play that describe that he is the Nazi, but we can infer that he is the Nazi because when Rebecca mentioned to him, she said that it was a kind of factory, I suppose. Sorry, the window seems to hide my. Okay, they were wearing caps. The work people, soft caps. So this is when she talked about the past, when her ex-lover took her to the factories. But in fact, the work people in the factory is not the real work people, and that is not the factory. In fact, because they're wearing the soft cap. In fact, this is not the factory, but it's the concentration camp of the Nazi, because the soft cap in this and the uniform means that it is the strip uniform and the soft cap, which is the uniform of the Jewish in the concentration camp. So that and as the plays go on, we can see that Rebecca used to say that she, Rebecca said that she used to be abused by physical violence by her ex-lover as he clenched her neck and asked her to kiss his fist. But however, I have to go to another. Okay, here. So the Nazi ex-lover represent the physical abuse, and the Devlin show the domineering and bondage. The two male characters are show the characteristic of the sadist. Also, the Devlin. This is also the example that show why we can assume that Devlin is just like the Nazi lover. He is also a sadist. Devlin said that you can't sit there and say things like that. Rebecca replied that I can sit here. Devlin also stated again that you can sit there and say things like that. As I underline, can sit there. It's the command. It is the okay. And also we can see his implication here that it is the slavery, the implication of domineering authority over one's life, just like the hairdresser. For example, Devlin said that when the hairdresser takes your head in his hand and start to wash your hair, it is not just your head which is in his hand. It's your life. It is your spiritual welfare. So this one is very similar to the authority, the power of control that the Nazi has over the Jewish one. So we can assume that these two male characters are the representation of the Nazi. Sorry. Okay, and the Rebecca shows that she is conveyed and abused mentally by Devlin, and as the plays go on, as she is forced to speak, it seems that the memory in her past comes up. It is invoked, and it is the memory that very resembles the real situation during World War II in which the Jewish has faced. For example, Rebecca said that, by the way, I'm terribly upset. And Devlin said, why? So it is the police siren that heard a couple minutes ago. Didn't you hear that? The police siren here is, in fact, the siren that heard during we call it is the night of broken glass. It is the night that the Jewish people has been captured and the store has been destroyed by the German military. Also, she also said, I watched him walk down the platform and tear all the babies from the arms and their screaming mothers. This is the same picture that used to happen during the Jewish has been captured. And on the platform, the train will took the Jewish to the concentration camps. The babies and the mother are tearing apart, and there's a scream. That is what Rebecca is. This is the memory that Rebecca is flooded away.
Sorry to interrupt. Could you conclude it?
Okay. And so, because the trauma that she used to get is the trauma is of the same as the Jewish used to get, so that we can say that the trauma cannot happen without repeating event. So when Devlin, who is her current, I assume that it is her current lover, do the same things, the physical abuse, the domineering one, the slavery act toward her. So she becomes collapsing, become paralyzed, and then the memory flooded out. Rebecca becoming the Jewish and all the echo from the past, the echo that used to happen in the Jewish flooded out. This is the last scene that the Devlin clenched his feet and hold her neck and said, "Kiss my fist." But at this point, Rebecca cannot move at all, and she does not speak. She just said with unconsciously that they took us to the trains, and there's an echo. The trains, they were taking the babies away, and the echo is the babies away. I don't have a baby, and the echo is a baby. So this is the merging between the character and the memory in the past of the Jewish. Now it becomes the one, and it echoes, because now she is the material, not material. She is the object that can transfer the memory that voiceless in the past into the public, according to the echo. As she said, she shared the same psychology. I have to go to the last slide.
Okay,
As
you can
Gary
conclude.
said, pain has no voice because pain itself has no referential content. It lacks an object on which to articulate itself. So that in this case, Harold Pinter used Rebecca as an object to articulate the pain that has been suppressed, the pain of the Jewish people during World War II. And so I have come to the conclusion that in this case, the sadomasochism is a politics of the victim to speak. Then through the lenses of the sadomasochism, the voice of the voiceless victims will be finally sounded. And it is very important that I will conclude that Pinter makes Rebecca a submissive object as a means to bring back the traumatic experience of the Jewish to the audience, so that humanities, I mean the audience, the reader like us, not only the Jewish one, will share the psychology of being victims of the sufferer, so that what happened during the World War II will be heard, and we all share the same things that our humanity used to suffer. Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Kanokkamalet Tangchitarenkit, for presenting such a wonderful topic, which is in the English literature. So
Yes.
Without further ado, I would like to invite one of the commentators to comment or review on her papers. Anyone, one of them, please, before we move on.
So อาจารย์กนกออนครับ
Yes.
So what is the overall voice that Pinter, the playwright, wants to communicate to the audience? Overall voice.
The overall voice, it is the voice that the Jewish used to. They were destroyed their identity, because according to the history, when they are captured into the concentration camp, all the Jewish will be deleted. We will not call by their name, and they have to call by the code that written on their skin. So this is how to destroy the identity. One of the things that we call humiliation, and this is the suffer, the pain that cannot articulate. And also when they, if you study the history, I'm sorry because there's a limited time, so I cannot refer much of the history. But if you read the history, you will see that during in the concentration camp, they are used by a hard labor and treated like an animals until the end of their time, that they shave their head and also make them naked and put them into the chamber gas and kill them. So they don't have a chance to speak or to articulate the trauma that they used to, or even the survivor of the concentration camp never mention about that, or cannot voice directly that what are their pains that they suffer is kind of mental suffering. That is the message.
Okay, thank you.
This is the message that Pinter want to convey to us.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn Sarawur, and also Kun Kanokkamalet for presenting on such a wonderful paper. If anyone wants to read it, you have to wait until next month. Maybe it will be published on the preceding paper, so you can read it on online paper. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
And okay, so I would like to move on to the next presenter, Dr. Siri Laksana Kunjaratna Ayutthaya, to present on her topic on learning and guiding Vipassana for instructors and meditation in Thailand and United Kingdom. So please share your screen and present the papers within 15 minutes.
Thank you, Venerable, for introducing me. May I share the first slide? Share.
Sorry to interrupt, but I hear some interruptions, some noises. So if you could clear the noises.
It is probably from me. Probably from my earphone. You can hear me?
I can hear you, but there are some noises. So maybe you can put on your earphones. Might be better.
I think the noise from the earphone.
So then continue, please.
I have shared it. Where is my?
So just minimize the browser first, then open your PowerPoint and make it into the slideshow.
Right. Okay. So now I make it into a proper slideshow.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Is it okay now?
Yeah,
yes.
But it's still not the full screen. But if you are okay with this, then just continue.
Right. Good morning from England. Good afternoon, Thailand. Respected venerables, and greeting all participants. The great privilege it is to be here. My purpose today is to share my experiences in, firstly, guiding Vipassana for meditators in the United Kingdom. Secondly, learning English for Vipassana instructors in Thailand, and then guiding English for Vipassana instructors in the UK by using Zoom online applications. Nowadays, teaching and learning in new normal are increasingly important in many areas of communications. Universities, companies are using online applications in conveying messages. Teaching by using English language teaching by using English in propagation of Buddhism is equally important as in using online technologies as a tool to fulfill the objectives. The pictures show the University College London, where I studied and worked. I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to be a volunteer and a householder Tammatuta for the Buddhapati Temple, London, and many temples in the United Kingdom. My opportunities of helping the temples activities in many ways have been carried out, including being the bilingual master of ceremony, the interpreter in many religious events and festivals. English language is very important in propagation of Buddhism abroad, including in the UK. At present, there are increasing numbers of non-Thai traditional Buddhist Thais, who are interested in practicing Vipassana meditation. The Buddhapati Temple, London, offers mindfulness meditation classes which are free of charges, as well as other Buddhist temples in the UK. While helping monks in guiding Vipassana meditation in English for beginners for many years, I still hope to improve myself in how to guide meditators in increasingly productive way. Coincidentally, while in Thailand, last year, I had an opportunity to attend and learn the very good course of English for Vipassana instructors organized by the Language Institute, MCU. Furthermore, I had a chance to be one of the assistants to Vipassana Masters for lay MCU students' meditation course organized by the Institute of Vipassana Tura MCU, led by Prof. Visittimuni, the director. To the end of the course, the director asked me to give a short talk about Buddhism in the United Kingdom. In June this year, the abbot of Wat Mahathat Temple, UK, and the chairman of the founder of the World Buddhist Dhammadutta Organization, or WBDO, Most Venerable Jalkun Parajavithet Panyakun, has organized a 10-week English course. Thai Dhammadutta monks from Thailand, India, and in the UK attending this course. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, the course had to be conducted by using online Zoom meeting. I taught the intermediate class by transferring my knowledge of English for Vipassana instructors, which I learned from MCU, to monks. Prajan Dr. Mahasompong Santachitto has kindly helped in teaching, commenting, and marking the assessment. In my opinion of teaching and learning by Zoom application, there are advantages as well as disadvantages. I have experienced as a teacher for many years in a medical school. I'm accustomed to the teaching in the classroom, which is best with direct interaction between teacher and students and amongst the students themselves. With Zoom, I found it difficult at first to learn new technology, how to present a class by using PowerPoint, how to admit students to the class while teaching, how to record the teaching, and how to be the host, basically. At times, I get used to the online new normal teaching and enjoy the sessions. I look for new interesting virtual background each time for new classes and used it as a starting point of talking and teaching while waiting for students gradually entering the room. May I share with you the clip, the small video clip? May I share with you the small video clip of, let me show you down here. Oh, okay, let me share the some part of the video clip, which, right, two students giving a talk in the live Zoom. And I show you two students briefly how they presented in the live Zoom.
โอเคค่ะค่ะได้ค่ะแล้วเราก็จดไปเยอะเลยค่ะงั้นเดี๋ยวโยมขออนุญาตนิมนต์จัดค่ะก่อนที่พระอาจารย์ณรงค์จะหายไปจากความมืดนะคะโยมขออนุญาตนิมนต์พระอาจารย์ณรงค์พูดต่อไป May I invite พระอาจารย์ณรงค์ please would you kindly give the presentation on teaching insight meditation
ตื่นเต้นมากเลย
นี่ขนาดไม่ได้พูดหน้าชั้นนะคะพูดในจอนั่งอยู่องค์เดียวในห้องโยมกลัวพระอาจารย์จะหายไปซะก่อนเดี๋ยวไม่เห็นนิมนต์เลยค่ะ
Good evening India and good evening England. Greetings to all respected venerables, especially พระอาจารย์ดร.พระมหาสมพงษ์สันตจิตโต and Dr. สิริลักษณากุลชนนายุทธยะ My name is Phatthalung My monastic name is Wuti Meti. It is my great pleasure to be here. I would like to talk to you today about how to practice Vipassana meditation at home. The aim of my talk is for you to understand how to prepare for Vipassana meditation at home.
Object occur, treat it as you do to the primary meditation object. Just label it with simple mental note. So that's a general picture of practice Vipassana for beginners. It sounds easy, doesn't it? I'm afraid that we are running out of time. Once more, please allow me to thank Kanokkamalet and Ajahn Betty for their initiatives in organizing this Dhamma talk and allowing me to give a talk today. Thank you for your attention. May you all be blessed by the Triple Gem and wish you all a successful life in Dhamma. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Oh, Lord.
Is it done?
Thank you. May I? Yeah, I'm back. Okay. Now I would like to share my, where's my PowerPoint gone? Let me open my PowerPoint first.
Just start sharing the screen.
Yeah, am I sharing screen now?
So 2 more minutes, Nakap.
Did you see my screen now?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh dear.
Okay. 3 minutes.
Okay, share. Let me put this up.
Ajahn Betty, you have two more minutes, Nakap. Okay.
Okay. I'm Sana. Okay, I think I'm back now. Yeah. Did you see my screen now? Yes, I'm sharing the screen now. You see my screen?
Yes, please minimize the browser first, then
oh,
as
yes,
usual.
Yes, sorry. Okay,
you have
now,
like
you see my screen now?
1.5 minutes, please. Do it as quickly as possible.
Sorry, yeah, will do. Yes. Now, sorry about that. From my opinions from opinions from my students and monks, there are advantages and disadvantages, and these are their opinions. There are more opportunities for students to the course worldwide, no matter how far apart they lived, and no traveling required, no cost in traveling. And reduce the cost in organizing the classes or conferences, i.e. cost of hiring the venues. Students may be able to watch and record the Zoom again if they do not understand the subject well, or they sometimes miss the class. The teachers could be invited to conduct the class from all over the world. During the lockdown, students have more time to learn many courses. And another advantage, the student could send a clip of his talk in advance when he could not attend the class for assessment. There are some disadvantages, of course. The Zoom is very convenient and easy to join and leave, so students find no urgent necessities to join the class. The interaction between teacher and students, also among students themselves, are limited. The group activities and interactions are reduced enormously. There are some obstacles in technology, i.e. internet stability, devices, and ability to use devices efficiently and effectively. Presentation cannot be done in front of the classroom. Students do not get the real feeling to present in front of the classroom. It is not easy to teach sitting or walking vipassana meditations by Zoom. Distracted sound from surrounding, dog barking, or from people chatting around. And when teacher talks to a student, it is like one-to-one, not the whole class. And there are some suggestions from my students monk. They gave some opinions as follows. We need to advise students on how to get the proper area of the room to sit and learn without distractions. And more interaction among teacher and students themselves. Teachers may be more tired and working hard in organizing the class like this. And encourage and motivate students to attend the class promptly, maybe checking names at all times.
Ajahn, could you please conclude within 1 minute?
Yes, thank you.
It's already 3 here.
And we should suggest to give advice on how to use proper device for the online new normal way of learning. Students have to dedicate the time specifically for the class and good self-discipline and committed. One of the Verna monks told me that the Zoom teaching was already good. But if Zoom is too good, no one will physically come to study at MCU. In conclusion, under the lockdown and socially distancing measures at present, Zoom and other online new normal ways of teaching are still very important tools in communication worldwide. I'm grateful to Venerable Dr. Pramaha Sompong Santatjito for encouraging and supporting me throughout the course. And I wish to thank all my students, monks, venerable monks in my class for the comments on new normal way of teaching and learning. May I thank Language Institute MCU for organizing the first national and international academic conference on languages and cultures. Last but not least, thank you for your attention. That completes my talk.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sri Laksana Kunjarano Itia. So, Ajahn. Okay.
Okay, good afternoon from Thailand. To my understanding, to my understanding, meditation is very popular in UK, USA, and Western country, and also around the world. So I would like to ask you, what is meditation? Do you use to teach people between the samatha and vipassana meditation, and which one is the most popular?
Thank you for your question. I initially worked as a volunteer for Buddha Temple, London. So this branch of Wat Mahathat, Thapacham in Thailand. And Lupa Jodo introduced us for a vipassana meditation in using rising and falling the abdominal wall. So we use that method for the vipassana meditation to conduct for all foreigners. Both Thai and non-Thai, with the rising and falling sensation of abdominal wall.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you both the commentator and Dr. Sri Laksana to present on learning and guiding of Vipassana in UK. So next participant, I would like to call upon Mr. Howell Nicholas Lewis to present on his topic, memory-spaced repetition learning. So, Ajahn Lucky, Mr. Howell Nicholas Lewis. Yes, Mr. Howell Nicholas Lewis. Can you? I can't hear you. Ajahn Lucky? I can't hear you. Your microphone is. Could you please switch on your? Okay. Yes, sure. Could you share your screen? PowerPoint? Anything?
Hi.
Okay. Ajahn Lucky, could you minimize the screen size?
The top,
because it's too large. We cannot see the whole slide on your PowerPoint. You can make it normal.
I don't know how to do that.
You don't have to do it slideshow. Just
I don't know how to.
Just close the slideshow and do it normally. Because sometimes the standard screen.
Can you? Is that better?
Please share your screen. You just stopped sharing your screen. You should share your screen again.
Okay, try again.
Yeah, please.
I haven't got. Start again.
Okay.
I haven't got PowerPoint now. Can't see. Too big.
We can't see your screen. I mean,
it's too
maybe
big. Yeah.
Yeah. Please reshare it again. Is it done? Okay. Okay, it's coming. Okay, good. Yeah, do it like this.
You see that? Okay. But it's not. No, it's too big, yeah?
Just present your papers. Because the time constraint, we have some time constraints, please.
Yeah, I understand that.
You can.
Can you see that?
No, we cannot see it because you stopped sharing your screen.
Can you stop sharing?
No, I mean you stop the sharing. You have to share it again to let the others see you. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. Just continue. Okay. That's good. Just continue your talk. You have 15 minutes.
You can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please continue. 10 minutes. Okay, please.
Right. So this is the research over a few years. Very meticulous. He recorded himself trying to learn made-up words and to see how long he remembered. It's called the forgetting curve. This is everybody is like, well, most people, we forget very quickly unless we do something which is to repeat. The forgetting curve, we lose it very, very quickly. I actually like to call his work the learning curve. Review, the next time it's easier to remember. The third review, fourth, fifth, then you're getting up to 100%. It is a truly amazing phenomenon. It's been over 300 papers confirming that it works. And he learned made-up words, which are the same. The brain doesn't know it's a made-up word. It's like a foreign language. This is why the Venerable earlier, he talked about language laborious and very hard going. It's this big change. Brain, the default mode, we just cannot remember aims would explode. Hence, we forget very quickly. But spaced repetition tells the brain, it's like hammering it home. This information is important. Remember it. And as it's doing that, and the neurons actually thicken, so before, like a foreign language, neuroscience, they've got scans of the neurons. The brain is very much like a muscle, uses the same energy system, and it basically exercising it by remembering. It's hard work. So there we go. Again, a bit more remembered. It's easier to retrieve. The next to retrieve. And different people say different space, different timing, different type. This is why one of the reasons I think it's not commonly used in education. Make a recommendation about what spacing and expand regular spacing. Our computers are fabulous. These sites I know from, this guy's an opera singer and he had to learn German and he learned using spaced repetition, and then he set up his own website forever. This one is a Japanese based. One of my good students learned 500 words in 6 months. It's fantastic. He's a Polish genius, but it's not about intelligence, it's about memory, which is a different thing. He, again, it's how if you remember the word easily, you don't get tested on it all the time. But he learns thousands of words. I think that should... There we go. Stop presenting. I'm live. Any questions, please? Hear me?
Okay, Ajahn Lucky, you're done? Okay, any commentators?
Yeah.
Commentators, please comment. Is anyone here? I'm not sure about the commentators.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have...
Okay, Ms. Hui Ling or Ajahn Veerakarn, anything? If not, then I can move on to the next participant. Okay, the next participant is Mr. Abdullahi Dia Mehdi from India. Is he present here? Mr. Abdullahi Dia Mehdi from India. If not, then I will move on to next participant. I would like to call upon Mr. Atit Thoma to present on his topic, Challenges of Learning English Consonant Clusters by Thai Learners. Ajahn Atit. Okay, sure, Ajahn Atit.
Okay. So, can you see my skin, Prachan?
Sure,
Okay.
We can screen.
Okay, respected Prachan and venerable monks, good afternoon, expert committees and audiences. My topic is relevant to challenges of learning English consonant cluster by Thai learners. I asked presenter Atithoma from Manipur University, India, and Pramunini Devi from Manipur University, India. So my topic is focus on consonant cluster only. In Thailand, Thai is used as a medium instruction in schools, institutions. However, foreign language or second language is still important for Thai people, particularly English language. It is an international language. It is spread all around the world. So Thai language has consonant cluster only at the initial position of words, restricted to only 2 member cluster, while English has both in initial and final position. So in this regard, C is represented to consonant and V is represented to vowel. Segment of the problem, actually many researchers have done under this topic, I mean consonant cluster. So they found so many problems and face difficulty pronunciation by Thai learner, such as Sarapat 1990, Vinay Tham, and Supatha Se Lee 2000, Trail Rung 2014, Sunthorn and Sunthorn Vipat 2016. So in my preliminary research also has found the same with this researcher. So therefore, producing English consonant cluster is not an easy task for Thai students, especially when they are not exposed to the native speaker in their environment. Moreover, some teachers are not competent enough in the proper articulation of English consonant cluster. Therefore, it is a great cause of concern as students persist of committing mistake which might lead distortion. There are 2 objectives. Firstly, finding the challenges that Thai students face in pronunciation of consonant cluster as a result of linguistic interference. Secondly, investigating the factors that cause the phonological interference between Thai and English and finding fundamental solutions to this problem. Okay, let's move on to research methodology. The subject of this study was a second-year student of academic year 2018 at Le Ratchapat University, Thailand. The total of the subject comprised of 6 classes of English major, and there were 245 students, and 10 students were selected from each class. The total bring the number of English major students to 60. So this research adopts mixed approach of quantitative and descriptive methods, and the instrument used comprised of consonant cluster test, video records, and camera. So the cluster were divided into 2 major groups. First, the derivation of initial position CCV, and the derivation of final position VCC. And second, the derivation of second derivation of initial position CCCV, and the derivation of final position VCCC. So this is a timetable of my data analysis. The first one, this is the position, mean initial position and final position. This is the word given, and this is the RP or receive pronunciation. This is student actual pronunciation, mean the error pronunciation by student. This is the derivation and phonological environment. And next is the percentage of each vocabulary error, and the last one is the total percentage of error. So in my research, I found 2 strategies. First, vowel insertion occurs when speaker inserts a vowel between consonant cluster, and number 2, deletion is another strategy. Learner adapt to facilitated pronunciation if the consonant cluster do not exist in Thai. Okay, number one is initial position of the derivation of CCV and the final position of the derivation of VCC. Let's see the first one, CCV. Actually, it is divided into three categories. First, deletion of second element of English consonant cluster, such as the word pronounced as play. Students actually say pay. Number two, insertion of vowel between consonant cluster. For example, the word slow, slow. Students actually say slow, something like this. And number three is the phoneme substitution. For example, spoil becomes spoil. So this means the red one is unaspirated sound become aspirated sound. So the final VCC, it could be divided into three categories as well. First, deletion of first member of English consonant cluster, such as puts. Like students actually say puts like this. Number two, deletion of second member of English consonant cluster. For example, like mint, students actually say mint. Number three, deletion of two-member cluster at the final position of the word, such as finch, and student actually in this case number three actually student script reading the vocabulary. That's why it becomes zero. Then most of them they delete the vocabulary or script reading vocabulary. So the column chart shown above. So just take a look only the blue color and the purple color. Out of 60 students, the initial position, which is blue color, it is the total average error is 21.6%, and the purple one is the final position of the total average is 81.6%. So the error produced in the final position is relatively much higher in the production of consonant cluster than the consonant cluster in the initial position. So number B, initial position of the derivation of CCCV and final VCCC. Let's see the first one, initial cluster one. It could be divided into 7 categories. First, complete deletion of all the elements of the cluster. This means that students delete all the vocabulary. That's what becomes zero. So maybe they cannot read this vocabulary. They cannot spell as well. Number 2, deletion of third member of cluster. This another strategy. They can also pronounce, but they delete the third member, such as splash becomes splash, like this. They delete the sounds. Number 3, insertion of vowel between consonant cluster, like a splash become splash. So the final cluster VCCC could be divided into 7 categories. First, complete deletion of cluster in the final position of words, like a blitz and become zero, mean they delete all the vocabulary or the script reading vocabulary in this number 1, completely deletion. Number 2, deletion of the third member of cluster, such as facts become fact. And number 3, deletion of second element of the cluster, like a script become scripts, like this. Number 4, deletion of second and third member of cluster, like such as the word thanks become thank. Number 5, deletion of the first element in the 3-member consonant cluster, like a mixed become missed. Number 6, deletion of first and third members of the cluster, like the words like a mixed become mixed. And the last one, number 7, insertion of vowel between consonant cluster, like a lapsed become lapsed. So the course chart shown above, out of 60 students, the initial position in blue color made the error by student is 33.3%, and the final one, purple one, made the error by student 97.6%. So Thai student, they face all difficulty to pronounce the word, particularly in the final position, because the percentage is too high. So conclusion, the finding of this type of error show that the most serious error made by Le Lachpat University student occur in 2 and 3 final consonant cluster. It is the major cause of interlingual phonological errors of Le Lachpat University in the English consonant cluster. It is observed that this group of learners learning English as foreign language, their which consonant cluster does not present in their first language structure, that resort to their first language rules to cope with these such difficulties. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Ajahn Atit Thoma, on presenting challenges of learning English consonant clusters by Thai learners. So I would like to invite commentators to give some comments on his presentation, please.
Ajahn Atit, since your research have been conducted in a part of Thailand.
Yes.
So Le Lachpat University, right?
Yes.
Do you think the dialect of first language of Le, the mother tongue, have influenced the pronunciation of consonant clusters of Thai learners?
Yes, of course. Sometimes, because most of them are from northeastern of Thailand, right? So their dialect is Lao language or Thai language. So sometimes they, I think most of them, they actually delete consonant cluster. Particularly whenever we speak Thai language, so when we pronounce Thai word, actually we also delete consonant cluster in Thai language as well. So that's why it is interference to English as well. But this case is not related. But the problem is final position. So actually I mean our language, Thai language, we don't have any consonant cluster like the English language, but we have only initial consonant cluster, only 2 members. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn Sarawur, and also Ajahn Atit Thoma from Manipur University, India, on presenting his maybe his research work. So, without further ado, maybe I will call upon the next participant, Mr. Lun Min Teng Kait, to present his topic, Challenges of Learning English Consonants by Thado Kuki Speakers. He's also from Manipur University. So please, Mr. Lun Min Teng Kait, please open your microphone.
Okay, sir.
Please share your screen. Okay.
One second, sir. Just wait, please.
Your sound is very echoing. You have echo on your sound. Okay, it's good. Just
okay. So what about the screen?
So you want me to share your screen?
Okay, sir. You please, you better send, please, because my screen.
Sure. It's coming. Just wait. Just tell me when to next. I will do.
Okay, sir. I got the slides. can I just begin my presentation?
Okay, sure.
Okay. First of all, a very good afternoon to our venerable and to all the participants. Today I will be presenting on this webinar on the topic Challenges of Learning English Consonant by Thado Kuki speakers. So about the Thado paper, let me just highlight about the Thado paper. So let's go to the introduction part. Will you please? Okay. In Manipur, all educational institutions, especially in hill districts, English has been the medium of instructions and communication. In private schools, missionary schools, and government schools, English has been the only medium of instructions. In spite of learning English, there are some consonant sounds where Thado English learners commit mistakes while speaking due to language influence. For example, I think here it does not come all the phonetic sounds, IPA. It's okay, I will just manage with my paper because of limited times. There are some consonant sounds where Thado Kuki language does not have interlanguage. For that, while speaking that consonant sound, we commit mistakes. For example, affricative and fricative sounds like because it does not come out in IPS, so I will just refer to my paper. Okay, can you please move on to the next slide? Okay, before I just begin my problems, consonant problems, statement of problems. Pronouncing English consonants has been one of the main tasks for Thado Kuki English learners. Though they speak English in school and colleges, they could not understand English used by the native people. One best example could be they could not understand while the English in movies and songs without subtitles. Okay, could you please move, Venerable? Okay, objective of my research or this paper presentation will be to find out the challenges that Thado Kuki English learners commit mistakes in pronunciation of English consonants. To find out the causes of phonological problems faced by the Thado Kuki English learners and find some solutions to the problem. Research methodology for this paper will be the subject of the study was the students who are at their high school standard at Omega Public and Kindergarten School at Motbung, Kangpopi District, Manipur, India. The data was collected from the students belonging to class 8 to class 10 standard. Interview was done to both boys and girls. This research adopts descriptive method. The research instrument in English pronunciation test includes voice recording, video recording. Students were asked to read aloud a list of English vocabulary which contain all consonant sounds which are absent in Thado Kuki language. Results and discussion. As I have said, there are some consonant sounds where my Thado Kuki language does not have Indian language. So while speaking these consonants, we commit a lot of mistakes. The first one will be fa sound. The Thado Kuki people does not have fa sound in English, in our language. So whenever fa, for example, let me just highlight the examples here. Flup will be pronounced as phalop. And then when fa sound is occurred in the middle position, for example, sofa will be pronounced as sofa. So fa sound is replaced with pa sound. And then when fa sound occur at the final position in English, as we do not have fa sound, it will be represented by pa sound. For example, off becomes op. Could you kindly move on to the next slide? Okay. Pronunciation of tha sound. The Thado Kuki does not have this English th sound. So whenever English th sound occur, we will replace it by the nearest possible sound, ta sound. As given example, for example, when th sound occur at the initial position, like thing in English, it's something like the sound is thing, but Thado Kuki speaker will say thang, and then at the final position, when th occur, for example, tit, then we cannot say tit, so we will say tit. That is the errors we committed. Could you kindly please move on to the next, Venerable? Okay. Because of non-existence of the same like th sound, we does not have the Thado Kuki. We, the speakers, do not have this th, which is replaced by the same ta or da sound, almost similar with the previous one. Like that will become that. It will be replaced by the sound. Mother will be replaced by mother, and then smooth will be replaced with ta sound, like smooth. Okay. Could you please move on to the next slide, Venerable? This is one of the another problems where Thado Kuki English speakers face problem. This voice post alveolar fricative sound in English is not present in Thado Kuki language. Thus, it will be replaced by Z sound in all the positions. Like, for example, when it occur at the initial position, let's say vision, then we don't have this sound. That's why we will just pronounce as vision, all vision. And treasure will become treasure will become treasure. So okay, could you kindly okay. So affricate, there are no affricate sounds in Thado Kuki language, unlike the English sounds. For example, this sha and cha will be replaced by cha and sha in Thado Kuki language while speaking English. So could you kindly move to the next slide? Please, could you kindly move to the next slide, Venerable? Okay. Replacement of voiceless palato alveolar fricatives by cha voiceless alveolar fricative by Thado Kuki English learner takes place when it occurs at the initial and middle position. But at the final position, additions of S sound is followed by insertion of vowel I, a vowel sound. For example, no, you please go back. Okay. For example, shock. In English, shock. So as we don't have this sound, we will just say chalk. And then capture will become capture. And then badge will become badge. Okay, could you kindly move the next? So another fricative sounds where Thado Kuki could not produce due to language one's influence is okay. For example, this sound, let's say June. In English, we will say June, but in Thado we don't have this sound, sure sound. So we'll just say June. And religion become religion or religion. and page become page. Okay, could you kindly move on? Okay. This fricative sounds like the fa sound and all the above problems. There is no ra sound in our language. So many a times we face problem pronouncing this ra sound. For example, let's say camera roll. We cannot say camera roll. So we will just say camera door. Or let's say rose. As ra sound is not there, people will tend to say dosh. So if native people listen to the sound of this da, then they could not differentiate what is rose or dosh. And then when ra sound occur at the middle position, for example, mirror will be pronounced as middle. And then when ra sound occur at the final position, with the third cookie will be replaced by la sound. For example, okay, pastor will become pastor. So that are some of the affricate and affricative sounds where Thado cookie learners face problem while learning English. So to conclude my presentation, there are some suggestions which I put up. We have to put some of the challenging consonants sounds where Thado cookie English learners commit mistakes. There are various measures that could be adopted so as to address and lessen the phonological problems of Thado English learners. It is important that teachers should identify learners' needs. These needs are to be incorporated during lesson planning and preparation, and also teaching strategies should explicitly consider these problems. It is also very important to ensure that competent and well-trained teachers reach learners of English. Teachers should have a thorough knowledge of linguistics elements of English. With that, I conclude, and I am sorry to say that with some technical problem, I could not show the IPA of my presentation. Maybe next time I will be very careful. Sorry and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lun Ming Teng Kwai from Manipur University. So please, Ajahn Veerakarn.
Allow me to ask questions. I have some doubt that according to the Thado cookie language, it does not have labiodentral fricative first sound.
Yes, sir.
Whenever first sound occur while learning English, they will either replace it by labial proceed per sound.
Yes,
why it become per sound? And does it become per sound intentionally by speaker? Could you please explain?
Actually, sir, because of the absence of this fast sound, obviously the nearest possible sound that we have in our native language is pa. So we will just go to the nearest sound because of non-availability. So that is the one of the possibility I should say.
Could you please pronounce the word 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about 5? Do you pronounce pi or 5?
Yeah, pi. But
pi. Per sound.
Consciously, I will. For me, I will say 5.
5. Okay.
Sometimes unconsciously, it used to come out 5, because I know this is not correct word. So I try to correct myself. So now at least I become some fluent with fa sound.
Okay,
otherwise, I used to say pa, friend, father,
yeah.
like
plain. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ajahn Dr. Veerakarn, and also Mr. Lun Min Teng Kwai from Manipur University on presenting on English consonants of Thado Kuki speakers, maybe one of the tribes in India, right? Okay. So next, I would like to move on to our another participant. We are almost done with other participants. So I would like to call upon Miss Pennapha Duanrabram to present on English multimedia development for tourism promotion of Sanwanok village, Buriram province. Okay. Could you please share your screen?
Can you see?
Yes, it's coming. Let me check. Okay, it's good. Yeah, please.
Okay, I suggest we begin now. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Penapa Dorabram. I'm a fourth-year student from Buriram Rajabhat University. In this special occasion, I would like to talk about English multimedia development for tourism promotion of Sonono Village, Buriram Province. Okay, now let's start with the introduction. As we know, language is a primary source and essential for communication, and it's the main thought that people share ideas and thought with the others. And nowadays, English language has become popular, and English language is the main language for international communication, and it's essential for the people who are working in tourism industry. And know more about the Buriram province. Buriram province in Thailand is developed as a small city, but the cultural tourism is still provided. Tourism brings a lot of change in many impoverished areas, but often it is restricted to high-profile attractions. As let's know more the Sonono village. Sonono village is located in Hoi Rat district in Buriram province. Most of villagers make a living by producing, weaving, and selling silk. And nowadays, Sonono village welcome tourists and interested visitors to learn the full process of silk production and weaving. Visitors can also be able to shop for a rich variety of beautiful silk fabric and products. Unfortunately, from previous studies, it was found that English multimedia of Sonono village has not been developed to promote the village to the visitor of the world. It is interesting to conduct a research to study the needs of Sonono villagers on the English multimedia development the English multimedia for promoting tourism of Sonono village. And let's look at the purposes of the study. First, to investigate the needs of Sonono villagers on the English multimedia development to promote tourism of Sonono village. Second, to develop the multimedia to promote tourism of Sonono village. And third, to investigate the satisfaction of Sonono villagers on multimedia development. Okay, now let's look at the significance of the study. The result of the study will provide video presentation about Sonono village in English language. The foreign tourists can imagine and gain more information about village background and interesting activities. And this study will be useful for Sonono villagers for promoting and increasing the opportunity to sell their products and services, as well as generating income for the villagers. And this study will provide information about Sonono village on English fan page. The villagers can communicate with their customer directly and correctly. The result of this study can be used as a guideline for developing multimedia to promote tourism in another village in Buriram. And the population and sample of this study, 40 Sonono villagers who were the stakeholder of the village tourism were population and samples. And they were selected by purposefully because they are village representatives who are in charge of welcoming and taking care of visitors. For the instrument, there are 3 instruments for this study. First, a questionnaire focused on the needs of Sonono villagers on multimedia development to promote tourism of Sonono village. Second, the semi-structured interview of 5 questions on characteristics of multimedia development and the satisfaction assessment of Sonono villagers on multimedia development. Okay, now let's look at the data collection. The questionnaire of needs was distributed to the 40 Sonono villagers who were the stakeholders in the middle of January 2020. And the sample were then interviewed in order to collect the needed information for multimedia creation. And the multimedia was developed according to the villagers' needed After that, 3 experts were asked to verify the correctness of the multimedia content and its format. And then the multimedia developed as a video clip and Facebook fan page was presented to the villagers for obtaining their comments for the multimedia improvement. And the multimedia was edited and shown to the villagers again before evaluating the satisfaction. For the data analysis, for the gender and age, the general information were analyzed by using frequency and percentage, and the data from questionnaire identify needs and satisfaction on multimedia development to promote tourism of Sadomasochism village were analyzed by mean and standard deviation. The data on suggestion and recommendation were analyzed by content analysis, and the data obtained from the semi-structured interview with the sound recorder were transcribed and interpreted. The data were then analyzed by content analysis. Okay, for the finding, as you see in the table is the finding on need on multimedia development to promote tourism of Sadomasochism village. As you see in the table, the results show that was found as a high level. And the first is the English video clip was found at a high level, followed by English Facebook fan page and English graphic design, respectively. And for the characteristic of multimedia development to promote tourism of Sadomasochism village, the data from semi-structured interview was presented the characteristic of multimedia development as follows. The slogan of the village background, the root of village, tourist attraction in the village, learning stations, local food, accommodation, and village product and souvenirs. And for the finding on satisfaction of multimedia development to promote tourism of Sadomasochism village, as you can see in the table, the result was found at a high level. The first is the content in video clip are complete and correct, and followed by the content in video clip are based on the needs of villagers, and the content in video clip are interesting and beautiful. The design of Facebook fan page and motivate in giving and information are the same. Okay, as let's look at the discussion. For the discussion, the needs of Sadomasochism villagers on multimedia development to promote tourism of Sadomasochism village was found at a high level. The result is in accordance with the study of content needs of Thai and foreign consumers toward hand-weaving silk products, Lim Hui Ling and Lajaran Wanit 2019, as the Thai and foreign consumer needed content on hand-weaving silk products through many channels such as social media. Okay, and next, the discussion on the characteristic. After gaining the information from the stakeholders, it was found that the slogan of the village background, the routes to the village, tourist attraction in the village, learning station, local food, accommodation, and village product and souvenir were needed. The result of this part is similar to Som-on et al. 2019 developed the bilingual brochures Thai-English for Sadomasochism village, and the finding of the study entitled Analysis of Tourism Personnel for English Communicative Innovative in Sai Yao Community for English Communicative Innovation in Sai Yao Community. Phatthalung Lake Sub-District, Mueang District, Buriram Province, Lim Hui Ling et al. 2018. Okay, next, and the satisfaction of the Sadomasochism village or the multimedia development in overall was found at a high level. The result is in line with the study of many researchers such as Bonasopon and Saijan 2019, Som-on et al. 2019, and Ananta Somboon et al. 2017. The multimedia they have developed certify the sample groups at a high level. This is because they have studied about the needs of the sample group before developing the multimedia, and they also request for the feedbacks and comments from the sample group after the multimedia has developed as the prototype. And the last topic is the recommendation for further research. First, the research was conducted to develop the multimedia to promote tourism of Sonona village. Most of sample were the stakeholders of the villager tourism. The further study should conduct with all villagers in Sonona village. And second, the further research should try to develop the multimedia to promote tourism of Thai Siu village in Buriram and other fields should be examined. The third, the comparison of satisfaction among Sonona villagers and tourists on multimedia development should be done. And the last one, the English and Thai subtitle should be added. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Kun.
Penapha.
Okay, on presenting English media development for tourism promotion of Sanuanok village in Buriram province. So, any commentators?
Okay, I just have questions.
Okay.
Yes, I have questions. According to your research title, entitled English Multimedia Development for Tourism Promotion of Sanuanok Village, Buriram Province. So I would like to ask that it has multimedia before. Why do you want to develop multimedia?
No, it doesn't have the multimedia before.
Okay. Why you focus on Sanuanok Village? According to your this paper, it is a small village. Why other village? Why do you focus on this village?
Because this village, the villagers have the units to producing the seal and the viewing about like a lifestyle. Yes, the villagers have own lifestyle, and we, the researcher, would like to promote the tourists to come to serve their product and their services for get more benefits and profits to the villagers.
Okay, last question. You are from Buriram province, right? Okay,
Yes.
I would like to know about Vishnu Lintel. Where is it? Vishnu Lintel.
Phnom Rung
Panalai.
historical park.
Okay, thank you. Now it's there. Vishnu
Very
Lintel.
nice. You should come.
Oh, Panalai Banthom Sin. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any no more comments, right?
Yes.
So we have 2 more participants left. So we're still waiting for one. So thank you, Kun Penapha, for presenting your paper, and also Ajahn Dr. Veerakarn. So now I would like to, okay, before we move on to the last presenter, actually there's 2, but one has not come yet. After finishing finishing the presentation from this room, I would like you to move to the first room if you have time for the closing ceremony, because the most venerable rector of Mahachula is coming to give the closing remark. So I would like all of you to join at the first room as well. Okay, if you have time. Okay, now I would like to call upon Mr. Buddhiram Chowdhury to present on learning strategies and teaching techniques in spoken English by Mr. Buddhiram Chowdhury, who is a foreign teacher from Nepal who has been teaching English in Thailand. So please, sir, please share your presentation.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sure. Please share your presentation screen.
Okay.
Can you share the screen?
Yes.
Okay, we have not seen your screen.
And it makes you powerful.
You have some kind of noise there. Can you? Okay, your screen is coming. Okay. Okay. Sure. Continue.
Okay. Can you see the PowerPoint, everybody? Hello.
Yes, please continue. We all see your PowerPoint.
Okay, so just like you say, I'm Ram. I'm from Nepal. I've been teaching here in Thailand almost like 2 years. Basically spoken English and also business English. I teach in private sector. So I would on my research paper, I just want to write my own personal experience as a spoken English teacher, trainer, and coach that I saw and face in my students. That's why I'm going to share about it, learning strategies and teaching techniques in spoken English here in Thailand. So since I'm working here in Thailand, I have been taught in several companies, like this is the company. So before going to my topic, of course I have to share about me, and because my whole papers is based on my personal experience, so I have to share the whole picture. So this is the first company where I taught National Council of Social Welfare in Bangkok, and also this one is the Bangkok TAO company in Bangkok. So I was teaching, training them a business English, and also this one is the company, Sigma company in Mahathai. So I was teaching them conversation, spoken English, at the same time business writing, and also this one is school in Mahathai. So I was teaching them and training them the spoken English as well. And this is the company in Mahathai as well. So this is I also train the police immigration office in Mahathai, so I had to train them spoken English at the same time business English and also business writing. So these are the pictures. And also I trained Dr. Ponsak, one of the famous personality here in Thailand, and also I trained Dr. Manas in MOL, Miracle of Life Foundation in Bangkok. So I was teaching him business English at the same time, business writing, conversation, spoken English. So talking about this whole picture and my paper. So every time I go to classroom or go to teach them, I just found these things, problem that I saw in my students. So they have having a lack of motivations. So number one problem I found among my students. So every time I go to classroom, they knew English is very important in their life, but they don't know why and how to apply and why it is very important for their life. Also being not confident to speak, or they were not confident enough to speak English, meaning they were very, very good at grammar and writing, and grammatically they were perfect, but they had problem with speaking. They were not confident enough. They don't know how to start, how to speak up. Also, number three is like fear of gear. They didn't know how and where to start speaking, so they had this problem. At the same time, applicability. They didn't know how to utilize the learned words, grammars, and sentences to speak up. So they had this problem. At the same time, 5, social mirror. Social mirror is like fear of judgment, the words, the sentences, and pronunciation. So they always worry, like when they are learning in a group. So they always had problem, like some of their friends or the partner or the classmate is going to judge their words or their sentences by saying this is wrong or this is incorrect, or they are going to judge their pronunciation. So they were so much worrying this problem, like social media. This is what I call it, so social media. So if you want to read whole information, you can read on my paper that I have submitted. So okay, let's talk. So to eradicate this whole problem, like especially the social media, I always apply this kind of technique. I like talk for 1 minute about anything it could be. I'm sorry for the PowerPoint is like making. Okay, so let me go to my paper directly. So talking about effective learning or teaching, innovative learning and teaching that we always talk and researchers talk, teachers talk is basically are called the pragmatic strategies of teaching and learning, teaching technique and methodologies for schooling and the procedures of learning, strategies, acquisition, whatever we say. So yeah, so on my paper, basically I'm writing this all the topic or facts, number one is like pedagogical teaching methodologies. Number two is modern adopted teaching techniques or terms that we hear on internet every time. And number three is like bygone methodologies of language learning, like 2016, 17th century that the linguists had applied. And then for the peer practice, the practice that we are applying right now, also new trending. So different teacher has different methodologies or teaching techniques, strategies or tricks. And also number six is new teaching design. So the things that I personally as an English conversation teacher applied for my students or on my teaching. So yes, talking about the methodological or teaching and language learning. So like when we speak about language learning, it's all about is kind of applied linguistic thing, and it is not just started like last 10 years or 100 years ago. It was started since the human history. So people were, when we go back to the history, we can see people perceiving the languages through the pictures. So this whole language learning system was started from the human history, but officially it was recognized in 17th century. So it was officially recognized during this time, and because during this time it was very famous, the education, the commerce and religion, and strong government, establishment of strong governments. For this whole thing, it was very important to have a effective language. That's why it was officially recognized in 17th century. The first linguist was John Amos Campbell. He was the first person who wrote the book, and he was a systematized whole learning system, language learning systems. During this, after him, like 16 to 17%, it was slowly diminished. People started talking about not only the oral education system, but also they wanted to focus on intellectual abilities, meaning it's not about just speaking. It also needed to focus on writing at the same time, to the matter of logic and matter of reasons. So they started thinking about different. So during this time around, the new schools of linguists arose called grammarians. So they started talking about grammars and repetition, this whole thing. So the reason for, or the results for this whole changes were this great linguist called Jean Meneska, I'm not sure pronouncing him right, and Heinrich Gottfried, and this there were like 6 and 7 linguists. These linguists arose. So these people introduced to the world descriptive, empirical, theoretical, and applied languages or linguist schools. Let's move to the next. There are 3 branches basically in English in linguistic, there are three branches called, number one is like the descriptive, and number two is empirical, and number three is theoretical. So descriptive is basically focused on scientific learning, so maybe mostly based on grammar and logic and reasons, and empirical is focused on human communication, so basically they focus on speaking, and theoretical is basically on grammar, so the grammatical theoretical schools were focused on translating, learning grammar and translating, writing techniques. These are the three branches, main branches in English. Widely used strategy or technique that modern day, so we can go back and go to the modern day. So there are different, when we go through the social media, we can see different tips, techniques, strategies in teaching. So the widely applied, or the techniques that I basically apply to teach my students are face-to-face learning. So face-to-face learning has different explanation or different ways of teaching. So basically, I used to bring some topics, and then I used to speak to my students face-to-face, and then record the whole conversation to let them go back and hear it and check it. So this is the face-to-face learning. So what they can get through this is new words.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Budik. Could you conclude by 2 minutes, within 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
New usable sentences, fluency, pronunciation, at the same time like back chaining. So back chaining is all about like turning around the words around. So for example, blackboard. So you turn around this word to board, blackboard plus blackboard. Or you just say to the student, the board that is blackboard. So you just turn around the words to make them remember the whole words. And audio recordings and books, so you can I just let them to hear some of the audios, and reading books is very important. And personally, I as an English learner had applied this whole techniques, and it worked for me. Listening as a way of learning. So most of the time we watch video, we watch movies, we watch audio books and everything to understand the whole conversation. But sometimes we can also apply as the way to learn English, like you just listen to somebody's book to develop your spoken skills and also pronunciation. And reading is very important. So I always use in my classroom because reading helps them, especially when you read novels. I just recommend my students to read some short stories or novels to learn the new sentences, spoken sentence. So basically they can learn phrases, idioms, and the new sentences, practical sentences. It's skill teaching. So the main perspectives of learning English is to learn the three kinds of skills called listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So in this part, I just let my student to read some passage and summarize to make them understand that to let them know whether they understand the whole conversation or whole topic, whole facts on the passage. These are things that I always apply to teach my English. So my conclusion is that teaching English or learning strategies or teaching techniques, it is not just we can, as English teachers or conversation coach, trainer, we can just speak it. Also, we need to have applied technological lessons and also training. We need to apply training, teaching techniques and strategies. Also, as an English trainer, we need to be very, very creative for the conversation, so we can be more good teacher and also a learner. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Veerakarn Chaudhary, to present on learning strategies and teaching techniques in spoken English. So, dear commentators, do you have anything to say about his presentation, please, before we move on to the last presenter?
Okay, thank you very much for presentation. In learning and teaching English effectively and successfully, there are many techniques, as you mentioned. I would like to suggest one more thing. Linguistics also is very important for learning and teaching English. If you know linguistics, you will know more, you will know clearly about phonetics that concern with speech sound, phonology, sound language, semantics, meaning of word, syntax, meaning concerned with sentence, pragmatic, also concerned with meaning of words. All of this will help us to be successful in learning and teaching English. This is my suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, both the commentator and the presenter. Okay, we'll be moving on to the last presenter for room 6. Now I would like to welcome Dr. Pacharaporn Panomwan to present on the lost Buddhist heritage, threatened sacred objects, and the orientalization of Buddhism. Can you hear me, Dr. Pacharaporn? Would you please open your camera and share your screen to everyone?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Are you seeing the screen for the presentation?
Yes. Yes, sure.
Great, that's fantastic. I'm running a bit low on battery. Unfortunately, I can't find an outlet, so hopefully this battery will last me throughout the presentation. First of all, thank you to the committee for allowing me to present this. It's an ongoing research and part of the work I've been involved in, less on language, but more reflections of what is happening in the front of how Buddhism is presented on the material culture side with the wider public. So for today's presentation, I will be going through outlining the problems associated to material culture, some background on Thai Buddhist material culture in Western scholarship, and problematizing the Buddhist identity, art and culture, displacements of objects, basically how they're destroyed, why they're destroyed.
Any problem with that? Hello? Are you still there? Maybe there's some kind of interruption in her connection. Okay, while we are waiting our last presenter, maybe she ran out of her battery. Yeah. So I'm not sure whether she will be coming back or not. But okay, while we are waiting her, I would like to invite the commentators to summarize what they've learned, or to comment on some specific presenters. Okay. Oh, maybe her battery ran out. Yeah. So please, commentators. Ajahn Sarawur, Ajahn Veerakarn, Dr. Hui Ling, do you have anything to say to our presenters and overall before we end up our session here and move on to another room for the closing ceremonies today? Please continue, sir.
For me today is very fruitful conference. I would like to say thank you of all presenters. And including about Buddhist propagandas, about the place, about this other research field. It is very useful and interesting for all learn English language. So, I would like to say thanks. Thank you.
Hi, I would like to thank you all. It's a good conference. Wonderful. I enjoying the session very much. It is good, and I think it's a good start for me. The first. Thank you for everything. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, Ajahn Pacharapon is back here. Maybe we will continue with her session and we'll end up our session. Okay, Ajahn Pacharapon, please continue. Can you hear me? Oh, your mic is. Maybe she ran out of the battery. Ajahn Pacharapon, are you still there? I'm not sure whether she's there or not. Okay, maybe I will move on to, I'll pass on to Ajahn Dr. Veerakarn to say something before we end up. Ajahn, are you there?
Okay, for this seminar, I call seminar, it's very useful because today we have many educated person come to present the work. Also, I would like to talk about meditation in the UK and in America. I just would like to share my experience. I used to be a Tammatuta monk before. When I went to America, I taught meditation because American people were interested in practice meditation. So I always talk that monk is like doctor. Why I call doctor? Because monk is a mental doctor. They can cure people who's mental sick, who have mental sick. So I'm very happy to see Tammatuta monks come to present today because I would like to see also Buddhism to spread in UK and America and Western country and allows the world. That is I would like to share my experience. Thank you.
Okay, I see Ajahn Pacharapon coming back. Can you hear me, Ajahn Pacharapon? Ajahn Dr. Pacharapon, can you hear me? Hello? I thought she ran out of the battery first. I'm quite not sure because we can't hear her voice. Ajahn Dr. Pacharapon, can you hear me? Okay, I think she might have some interruption. She might have some problem joining the room or due to she ran out of battery. I would like to thanks all the three commentators. Oh, she's here. She's here. Okay, she's here. I thought she was. Ajahn Pacharapon, can you hear me? I can't hear your voice. Maybe your microphone is muted. Okay,
Hello?
yes.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please continue. Please continue. I thought you you ran out of the battery, so please continue.
Sorry about that. That was unexpected, but I found an outlet.
Okay. Please continue until you finish your presentation.
Current slide. So continuing from problematizing Buddhist identity in art culture, problem of displacement and antiquities trade, and I'll get into a bit about what the Buddhist community can do to engage with the proposed problem. So problem with Buddhist heritage, outside the main narrative of Buddhism that Buddhists usually encounter, there's a world of how the outside, particularly the market and other people treat Buddhism. And this is part of a historical view of Buddhism that gets categorized into mainstream religion during the 19th century. So it became an ad hoc of the theological understanding of the religious world that takes what we could crudely identify as Abrahamic theological religion. Buddhism, in that sense, classed with other systems of Asian belief, is then viewed through the eye of Orientalists, ideas of foreign and exotic culture. Now, this becomes a problem in terms of addressing both early textual studies and particularly in the aspect of understanding the religion itself, the people, and representation through material culture. The Buddhist material culture is presented through the narrative of exotics, tokens, lesser objects with less variations in terms of art categories. So, for example, you would class certain artifacts or Buddhist relic as being of Mahayana faith of certain time period, but they're discontinued from where they are from in terms of temple. Who are the people, the uniqueness of the people that worship these relics, or even their functional or multi-usage within a temple context. For example, a Buddha in a Buddhist culture within a temple might function as keeper of funerary burials and ashes. So we would store our ancestors inside or underneath the Buddha. So the Buddha, in a way, in a crude Christian sense, can be explained as tombstones of Buddhists. But Buddhas treated in the material culture sense of Western scholarship is not viewed as that. They are individualized tokens of single purpose. So they're treated only for the purpose of worship. Now, this is not only a problem we see in Buddhism. It extends to other religion that is removed from the European core world also, for example, Islam or Confucianism. It's reduced, it's simplified, and the material culture is classed into different categories. This becomes a problem because as material culture is removed from certain space and presented abroad or in a museum context or even in an education context, it gets displaced. There's stereotypes placed on it, and therefore the functional usage of sculptures, objects, relics are then skewed. So it becomes a representation of an object or idea that is seeking to exemplify certain characteristics. Now, this becomes a problem when we deal a lot with collectors. We see a lot of campaigns against the misusage of Buddhist sculptures and the problem of rising antiquities trafficking of Buddhist relics. So we have problems, for example, like Buddhist sculptures being used for household decorations, for interior designing. But the pattern of collecting these relics itself also exemplify why people are actually demanding Buddhist sculptures or Buddhist relics without belief or following the faith of Buddhism. So, for example, Buddhas are often used to decorate restaurants, bars, pubs. Buddhas are placed in homes to show the owners knowledge of the exotic, not knowledge of the Buddha, not necessarily knowledge of Buddhism, but knowledge and experience of the exotic, the ability to present worldliness through tokenizing foreign culture. Now, I loved that little comic on the right side because it quite captures in a way how the world or the Western world sees Buddhism and treats Buddhism as a single dimension. For example, there you get that concept of the ultimate Zen leader, the one who does not get disturbed by multitasking or demands that comes into phone calls, all these urgent things. He's completely passive. He's ignoring it in a sense. Now, I do a lot with antiquities collection, and a large part of the antiquities collection that I look at has to do with amulet collection culture and Buddhist material culture collection. So part of the problem that extends to looting is that the places, in the past, places where Buddhist amulets exist, where sculptures exist, unfortunately, they weren't the richest of places. So necessary protection of these cultural heritage, or even the ability of temples and heritage sites to safeguard these sculptures is under risk. Collecting amulets is part of local culture in a way. It's also gift-giving culture, but it's also a culture that arises partly as an interaction with Oriental forces that believe that there's potency, the object represents something else, not necessarily Buddhism, it necessarily represents prestige. These objects gets carried and circulated and becomes part of the motivation behind trade and collections, even in places with museums and universities in the 1960s and 1970s, where it is quite common that objects that are looted or stolen off-site can be purchased via the trafficking network. This puts a lot of temples under attack. Historically, there's many sites that are still enduring continuing destruction. But destruction of Buddhist heritage site does not only come from external agency and the way Buddhism is presented. It is also done by newer Buddhist community or people residing in areas where there are Buddhist heritage or temples operating within heritage grounds. Now, this is, if we separate the two problems between modernity and the conservation of heritage, then looking at localized agency, this is not a problem of the community per se. Partially it is to do with perception of how we interact with the Buddhist heritage past. The ongoing trend is that we want to build new spaces. There is a need to build new spaces, construct new spaces, but there is a dilemma of what to do with old spaces. That linkage between the idea of conservation, rebuilding, and restoring the previous past for the continuation of further using that particular heritage space for modern religious function has not been connected. So it's discontinued. Therefore, we run into a lot of hundreds of temples that run risks of destroying heritage sites and letting Buddhist heritage run adrift, which then open room for people outside the Buddhist community to exploit it through the market force. For example, if the Buddhist temple decides to restore a temple or build a new temple, it would usually remove ancient doorways. Now, these doorways, or doesn't have to be, particularly in parts of northern Thailand, these doorways doesn't necessarily have to be over 100 years old, but they're still considered heritage older woodwork. The best way would be to work with local heritage authority and then use the same woodwork or generate skills out of them to keep continuing the usage of these infrastructure. But that also requires synchronized operation with conservation authority, something that has not been traditionally done. So what do we get? We get these doorways, sculptures, sometimes even old Buddhist relics floating out towards the wider audience. And once it translates out to be wider audience, it enters material as collections. And that's why we see a growing demand for decorating public spaces, museums, households with Buddhas, because they're considered storage of relics. So one of the greatest problems that I've been fighting against is how the Buddha is portrayed in the antiquities market. And this is an ad by a very famous bidding auction house in London. And as you can see, it's saying that every home should have a Buddha, meaning that it's the Buddha is, in a sense, treated as an ordinary trinket that's like a painting that you should have in the house, never mind where you place it. Now, why is this quite unique? Because you don't typically do this with material culture that has not been tokenized. So, for example, there is less, even though there are some usage of religious relics from other religious Abrahamic religion as decorations within certain places, it is not trivialized or tokenized as much as part of the Oriental religions. So in a sense, it's fine and it should be a thing to have a Buddha as part of your decorated space, because that shows that you're an enlightened person. And you're
sorry to interrupt, and could you wrap up within 5 minutes?
Yeah, I'm at my last slide.
Okay.
So to prevent this problem, part of the familiarization that needs to happen is learning towards working with conservation space. There are over 2,000 ancient heritage sites in Thailand, over 1,000 at least registered in parts of Myanmar, and obviously across Southeast Asia. These Buddhist heritage are usually protected by the law, and a working partnership between religious authority that wants to restore these spaces or even build new religious spaces. There's a possibility of using ancient sites, ancient monument as active worshipping space. But that requires a reach out from both authority and a dialogue with the religious community themselves, that willpower to put money and investment into building infrastructures and rebuilding old heritage sites. For example, old religious stupas or temple grounds. But more importantly, it's updating, it's turning old heritage site into part of modern lifestyle, integrating older Buddhist heritage spaces and objects or relics into the modern sense. And that will push against the treatment of archaic, old 19th century perception of how the Buddha is treated, a simple token of an exotic Oriental religion. And that I leave this presentation for questions and anything else. Thank you for the opportunity to present.
Thank you, Ajahn Dr. Phatthalung, to present such a wonderful presentation. Okay, for the commentators or any other presenters, do they have any questions to ask with the commentators before we settle down this session for today? Yeah, please. Okay, for those who have submitted the full papers, we will be doing the revisions later, and we'll be also publishing into our proceeding papers and uploading online on the website of this conference. So if there's nothing to say, then I think I would like to thank all the presenters for today who have presented such a wonderful presented in wonderful topics, either that would be in academic papers or research papers and different issues, different trends. So thank you all the participants who came to present today, and also all the commentators, all the three commentators, including Assistant Professor Dr. Sarawur Phatthalung from Veerakarn University, Bangkok, Assistant Professor Dr. Veerakarn Kanokkamalet, the head of Foreign Language Department from TIS, University, and finally, Dr. Lim Hui Ling from Singapore. I would like to thank all the three committees and also all the presenters. So I think we'll be ending up our session. So have a nice day. Goodbye. If anyone has time. Okay, thank you. See you. And the certificates for the conference will be also sent it via email to you. And also the original certificate will be sent it later via the post. So yes, maybe 1 week after this. And for the proceedings, we'll have to collect all the papers and do all the revisions needed. Then we will upload it on our website. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. So see you.
สวัสดีครับ
ตรงนี้แหละคือสิ่งสำคัญเพื่อตอบที่สำคัญ